Alright, in this video I'm going to show how I set up the basic environment for working in the DataKeep project. These are the basic um, configuration we should have before doing any of the advanced setup, before any OLAP setup, um, just the bare basics to start working on the project and in any POC for that matter. So first thing, as I wrote in the description of the task regarding this basic setup, this process consists of 4 main steps, which are subdivided in sub-steps, which we will see step by step in this video. So these main 4 steps are: first, we need to install and set up our database server environment in our local machine to be able to connect to the remote server and connect to the databases of the project. So that is the first step. The second step is to connect actually to the remote server and to the database we were working on. So those are the 2 first steps, and then the third step is to have Microsoft Excel installed in your machine, because this is the tool that we will use to visualize all the data. So that is this step number 3, and step number 4 would be to set up an ODBC connection to the database so that we can load the data we want into an Excel spreadsheet, and to be able to further create pivot tables and then connect to an OLAP server in order to complete the data cube. So these are the main 4 steps which everyone needs to follow before starting to work on the project. And so this is the very first video that anyone should be watching in order to start working on the DataKeep project. And all everyone who is working on the project should check this video to check if each of the 4 steps which I'm about to describe are completed in the developer machine, and to test if all connections are working and all programs are working. So let's go ahead and start with the first step. All right. So that would be to, first of all, if we don't have yet installed the database engine in our machine, we will have to download it. So in this case, we're using PostgreSQL, so that's what we're gonna download, right? So we just go on and go to this link. And in this page, we got the downloads, and just look for your operating system and download it. Okay. So got Linux, Windows, Mac OS, and the installation process is pretty simple. You just download the you get the package for installation, and you want to install the latest version, which is 11. And so you can also install it by your operating system, depending on the operating system, you can install in your operating system package manager. In this case, I can do it with Homebrew in Mac. You can do it with apt in Debian-based Linux distributions like Ubuntu and RPM and Yum and other package managers in other systems like Fedora and Red Hat Linux. So here we got the integrated installer, which is the Wizard installer, which is available for Mac OS, Linux, Windows. So we download whatever version suits our system, and it will download, and then we just got to execute the wizard and just choose our installation path and then install it there, and the process is straightforward. Then once you have it installed, you will want to have a visual tool, okay, to be able to visualize the information more easily on the database when we connect to it. So pgadmin is the standard graphical application for Postgres. So you can download it in this page, and it's the same process as well. You just download the installer, and once it's downloaded, you just run the wizard and complete the process. There's nothing complicated. You just have to say next and install, because generally we don't want to change the default installation path, and if you want to change the installation path, you can do it in that wizard. But that is the only option that you can that you are provided with, and it's totally optional. So once you get pgadmin installed, you can access the Postgres server via pgadmin, or as well you can do it via the terminal and not even use pgadmin. So that is depending on how you like to work. But in this case, it is much recommended to have a graphical tool because of the more easy and fast manipulation of the database, and for better visualization. It also saves us a lot of time, and it is generally more productive to use a graphical tool. Also, pgadmin is not the only tool available for a graphical application for accessing Postgres databases. There are many other options as well, so you can install any of the options that you want. I'm gonna just throw in a couple which I use, which are Azure Data Studio. You can connect to any of the most famous databases like Postgres, SQL Server, MySQL, SQLite, and many more, and Oracle, and many more. So it's free to download. You just go to the download page and download it as well. Okay. So it's available for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. So the other tool, which I use even more because it offers me many tools that I like, is dbeaver. It's also free to download, and so this is the one that we will be using and that I use in the other videos. So it's the same. You just download it and run the installer. Windows, Mac OS, Linux. So these are graphical applications for accessing database engines. So once we have installed Postgres and we have installed any graphical tool, we can access the Postgres server with that graphical tool, which is what we're going to do now. Okay, so step number one is already done. We got Postgres installed, and pgadmin or any graphical tool for uh, accessing Postgres installed in our machine. So we go to the tool, to the graphical tool, in this case dbeaver, and we're going to connect to the remote server and access the March 2019 database. Okay, so over here in the left, you can see all the connections that I have in different servers. So I got a SQL Server connection with many databases. I got my SQL connection with many databases. Right now, these are not active, and that's why you see this red cross symbol over there. And we got PostgreSQL. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now to connect to the remote database. In this case, this one, March 2019. So in this connection, I have it already active. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new connection to the March 2019 database. So when we open the graphical tool, we just go to make a new connection, okay, create connection. This is the same in any of the graphical tools, so in pgadmin and in Azure Data Studio is the same. So in this case, we just select the database we're going to connect to, in this case, which is PostgreSQL, as we previously said. We go next, and then we'll have to provide for the host, the server number, okay? The IP address of the server. So in this case, I have it already over here. So I can go to see it in the existing connection, in edit connection, and see the IP address, and I just copy it, okay? So in the new connection window, we put the IP address of the server. The port is the standard port 5432, which is the standard PostgreSQL port for database access. So which database we want to connect to? It is March 2019. You put your username and the password. And then we should be all ready to connect successfully to the database. So I'm gonna go and tap on test connection. It's testing the connection with the parameters we just gave it, and it says connected. Okay, it got connected in 2312 milliseconds. Okay, so I click on finish, and we got replicated our connection. We see over here PostgreSQL March 2019 connection, March 2019 number 2. Okay, we replicated this one, and so now we can click on the drop down and expand and see the March 2019 database and all the elements in this database. So in schemas, we enter the public schema, and we can see the tables. We see media property, all the tables of the database, including the table that we're currently working with, which is property raw. Okay, so you can see the functions and all that is in the database. Okay, so once we have the connection with Postgres, step number 1 and step number 2 are completed. And so we go on to step number 3, which is to install Microsoft Office Excel in our machine. So for that, I know many people already have Excel installed, so you can skip this step. It's important that you have a license and not the pirated software, because this can cause you trouble when setting up the ODBC connection in the fourth step. So um, it's the same. You can download Excel and get a license key. Remember to always download the latest version, okay, which would be 2019. So depending on which system you have to download Excel. And once it's downloaded, it's the same. You just install it. Um, you just install it by running a wizard, which is pretty straightforward. Okay, so you download the version of Microsoft Office you need, and once you have Excel installed, we will have to go to our fourth step. Okay, Excel all set up and installed, and we will have to run our fourth step, which consists of setting up an ODBC connection from Excel to access the database that we already have a connection to via Postgres. Okay,